Hey guys, welcome back to another video. In today's video, we will be doing the week 1 college football picks. We're back for another week of college football, and I'm excited for this one. We have so many good games this week. I'm really excited. A lot of ranked teams are battling out. A lot of big teams are playing small teams, but some of them still did make this list based on the teams they play, even though not many people know them. Some of them still made this list, and obviously, I'm just going to give you a hint. USF and UCF made this list as well this week. They're going to make it pretty much every week, no matter what, except last week, of course, because they did not play. Let's get straight into it. First, we got Georgia versus Clemson. Of course, I got Georgia winning this. They have Carson Beck and Trevor Etienne. Thing is, Trevor Etienne is still questionable. No results have really came out for him yet. We know Roderick Robinson is out for the game, and that is a key running back. Two great running backs, and they both could possibly be out. They also have Dominic Lovett, one of the best receivers in college football. He's going to be one of the best receivers in college football this year. And Nazir Stackhouse and Michael Williams are going to be big on the defensive side. So, yeah. If we take a look at Carson Beck's stats, 29 touchdowns and 6 interceptions last year at Georgia. He's probably going to have a better year. Do I see him winning Heisman? He'll probably be a finalist, but I don't think he'll be Heisman. I actually do like how they're saying Dylan Gabriel will be a finalist, and I think he will win it. I think he probably will win it just because Dylan Gabriel has been so consistent through his career. But back to the actual teams that are playing this week that are on the list. Clemson was 9-4 last year. 14th ranked currently. 20th last year, I'm pretty sure. They're in the rankings. Cade Klubnik is their starter this year again. He is going to be pretty good. He's had a pretty good college career so far. There has been times where he has struggled, and we're going to see how he performs against a big team like Georgia. Jake Brittany-Stoller, tight end, who had almost 500 yards and 5 touchdowns in 2023, is going to be very important. And, of course, TJ Parker, defensive end, finishing with 5.5 sacks last year in 2023, is going to be a big part of the defense, knowing that a lot of Clemson's defensive players have gone away. Phil Maffa is the replacement to Will Shipley Jr., who got drafted last year. We're going to see him 965 yards, 13 touchdowns last year. Big piece for this team as well. And I got Georgia winning this. Clemson still going to be very good this year, but you obviously cannot not pick Georgia. I mean, it's Georgia who isn't going to pick them. Next, we have the game of the week, Texas A&M versus Notre Dame. College game, they will be in College Station. Basically, Texas A&M at Texas A&M. Texas A&M, they have Connor Weidman. He is going to be insane this year. We're going to see him do a lot of great things. Notre Dame also has Riley Leonard, the transfer from Duke. He was hurt a lot last year. He's going to show a lot. This is going to be a really good match. Notre Dame tends to struggle in the first game this season, or in the season. Connor Weidman hurt also a lot last year, but the backup, 8 touchdowns and only 1 interception as the backup. You also have Le'Veon Moss, the starting running back, 484 yards, 5 touchdowns, and Noah Thomas, their wide receiver, who's going to be a big part of their team. Notre Dame has Jeremiah Love, the replacement of Audric Estime. He had 385 yards and 1 touchdown behind Estime last year. So he's going to be a very big part of this game. But I got Notre Dame winning, just beating out Texas A&M. I think this is the year where they finally say, hey, we're going to stop our struggles in week 1. We're going to take this win. I think they will. So, yeah. We got Penn State versus West Virginia. Very interesting matchup. Penn State, Drew Allard, the QB, 25 touchdowns and only 2 interceptions last year for Penn State in 2023. Caton Allen They're 902 yards and 6 touchdowns last year as well. You also have Nick Singleton, 2 key running backs for Penn State. That's going to be a big part of the game. That's insane. You got 2 running backs with over 500 yards, and they're both consistent. Kane Allen, 6 touchdowns last year. Nick Singleton, 8 touchdowns last year. You got Julian Fleming with transfer from Ohio State, which is big. 270 yards at Ohio State. Did nothing big, but you have a guy coming from a school like Ohio State. He's definitely playing out at Penn State. West Virginia does have Garrett Green, 16 touchdowns, 4 interceptions last year with West Virginia. CJ Donaldson, their running back, 798 yards. 800 yards and 11 touchdowns in 2023. That is big numbers right there. He's going to be important for the game as well. Hudson Clement, their wide receiver, 480 yards, 4 TDs. Also going to be a big guy for West Virginia. But I got to have Penn State winning here. Drew Aller is going to be too much for that West Virginia defense. Not much stands out at West Virginia this year on defense. So yeah, I got Penn State winning that. Next, we have LSU and USC. LSU with Garrett Nussmeier, 4 touchdowns, 1 interception in 2023. The backup last year to Jaden Daniels. And obviously, he is filling a big role from last year. You got CJ Daniels, the wide receiver, 1,067 yards. He is a transfer from Liberty, 10 touchdowns at Liberty. He's going to be a big piece. A lot of teams are getting good transfers. Zay Alexander, the cornerback, 30 tackles, 2 interceptions in 2023. Those are big name players that are going to be an impact for LSU. You also got USC coming in here. Miller Moss, the new replacement for Caleb Williams, 7 touchdowns and 1 interception. Played in the Holiday Bowl last year instead of Caleb Williams. Obviously, Caleb Williams got ready for the draft. You got Zachariah Branch at the running back, 320 yards, 2 touchdowns. He's going to be the main guy this year. He's going to be the big guy this year. Akili Arnold's 25 tackles, 2 interceptions at Oregon State. Many guys from Oregon State are leaving because Oregon State now is really making deals with smaller conferences. The Mountain West, one of them. So a lot of guys from Oregon State left. Guys like DJ Youngley, Akili Arnold, and many more. So I got LSU winning this. USC has a very good team, but I think Garrett Nussmeier will be insane this game. I mean, he's going to have a big first game. We saw him last year while playing. He was very good. You also got a bunch of new transfers. We're going to see how they do on both teams, but I got LSU winning this, obviously. Florida State and Boston College. Holy smokes. I was very disappointed at Florida State last week, and a lot of people were too. They lost to Georgia Tech, who had Haynes King, and DJ. I'm just going to say DJU because I'm not going to try to pronounce his name. They both really didn't throw amazing. It was really dependent. The running for Georgia Tech was really good. Rushing game for Georgia Tech was insane. Florida State really didn't have any standouts. Ja'Kai Douglas was very good. But I have to have Florida State winning over Boston College. Boston College had guys like Thomas Castellanos as a quarterback. I'm going to just say this. Former UCF player, so I do respect him. But, I mean, that's really all they have. A rush for 11 touchdowns as a quarterback last year. You obviously got DJU, who's going to be a big quarterback this year. Obviously did not have his best game in week 0, but he is going to be a big player this year for Florida State. You got Malik Benson, Roydell Williams, Ja'Kai Douglas, players like that should be a big impact, but you never know what is going to happen. They could have a bad game. I'm really hoping Malik Benson has a good game. He's one of my favorite players in college football last year. I followed him at Alabama last year. I think FSU's going to win this. They're playing an easier team. I think Georgia Tech is better than Boston College. I got Florida State winning this. Next, we got Miami versus Florida. Miami has Cam Ward, the transfer from Washington State. Big transfer from Miami. Cam Ward, Samuel Brown as their wide receiver, 815 yards, 2 touchdowns at Houston. Big transfer from the Big 12, Damian Martinez. Probably one of the hugest transfers of this past offseason. Damian Martinez, 1,185 yards, 9 touchdowns at Oregon State. There's another Oregon State guy coming off the board as a transfer. Tyler Van Dyke is out. He's at Wisconsin. Good for them because he did not work out for Miami. You got Cameron Ward playing now, who was really looking good, and Washington State was really looking good beginning mid-year last year. 25 touchdowns, 7 interceptions at Washington State. Xavier Restrepo at the wide receiver position, 1,000 yards, 6 touchdowns in 2023. So, Miami has a lot of potential this year. Florida has Graham Mertz, who threw for 20 touchdowns and 3 interceptions last year. Very impressive for him. Trevor Etienne obviously left. Montrell Johnson Jr. is the main guy now. 817 yards, 5 TDs at Florida last year with Trevor Etienne, so that is big for him. Eugene Wilson, 532 yards and 6 touchdowns last year. Big guy for Florida. But I got Miami winning this. I love Miami now because, I don't know, I just want them to do good because they have Cam Ward, they have Restrepo, they have Damian Martinez, guys like that. It's going to be very interesting for Miami this year, and I think they're going to be do very well, and they're going to start the season off well by, I think, winning against Florida. So let's get into the next game. We have Texas versus Colorado State. Colorado State, one of the teams, smaller teams. A lot of people know them because of the Colorado rivalry. They have Braden Fowler, Nicolosi at their quarterback, who threw 22 TDs and 16 interceptions. Now, that's another reason why I have Texas winning this. Braden Fowler threw 16 interceptions, and that's at Colorado State. We also know their conference is the Mountain West. They're not in the big conference, so not very impressive by him. He's very interception prone. So Torrey Horton's really their only guy on offense. 1,136 yards and 8 touchdowns last year. He's going to be very important. But you're playing Texas, who has Quinn Ewers, Arch Manning as their backup. Quinn Ewers throwing 22 touchdowns and 6 interceptions. But CJ Baxter is out for the season. That is very big for Texas. That changes a lot for Texas. Silas Bolden, though, is one of the transfers from Oregon State. 746 yards and 5 touchdowns last year at Oregon State. Isaiah Bond, 668 yards and 9 touchdowns at Alabama. I did not write that well. Sorry. I was almost about to say Florida State instead of Oregon State on Silas Bolden. You also got Trey Moore, 30 tackles, 14 sacks at UTSA. I know it's UTSA, but that's still big numbers, and that's a really important piece on Texas now. He's definitely starting. If you look at the stats at UTSA, that's good enough for him to start. Texas, I obviously got Texas winning this game, but you got to name their big name players. They are going to be so good this year, and those players are the reason why. Next, you got Michigan versus Fresno State. Again, one of the games, Fresno State in the Mountain West Conference, and you got Michigan, who's obviously in the Big Ten, so you got to include them there. Michigan has Alex Orji, and he's battling now with another guy. Alex Orji is going to be insane. I think Alex Orji is starting this game. Alex Orji is insane. I think Fresno State has Mike Keene this year. I'm pretty sure they do, Mike Keene. But Alex Orji, too much. Michigan also has an amazing kicker. Michigan, national champions. They have a lot of pressure on them this year. And they're going to start off the season well, of course, against Fresno State by getting a win. USF versus Bethune Cookman. You knew I was going to put them on here. And they always play Bethune Cookman week 1. I feel like it. USF has Byron Brown, who no glaze, no anything. Is going to be amazing. He's going to be a top quarterback this year. 26 touchdowns, 11 interceptions. He's got to bring down the interceptions this year if he wants to really do good. But they have Naquan White on the ground. 800 yards, 8 touchdowns last year. Sean Atkins over 1,000 yards last year. A guy like Naheem Simmons, who has big games every now and then, who needs to have big games every game, is going to be really good. And Jaquez Williams with 1 sack and 1 interception as a defensive lineman last year. Very impressive. I obviously got to have USF winning this. We're just going to name some Bethune Cookman players who had an impact. Courtney Reese, their running back, 233 yards and 4 touchdowns at UNLV. So that's a big guy coming from a bigger school than Bethune Cookman. So he's definitely going to have a big impact at Bethune Cookman this year. You got Omari Stewart, wide receiver, 122 yards, 1 touchdown in 2023. It looks to be like a lot of Bethune Cookman guys left and have moved on. So this is going to be like a Bethune Cookman rebuild, I guess. No really good quarterback. I wouldn't know their starter. Not much news on Bethune Cookman has been announced yet, as of yet. But this game will be occurring on Saturday, not really a Thursday. But the next game will be occurring on a Thursday. Basically, when this video will get uploaded, which should be Thursday morning. UCF versus New Hampshire. Y'all know I get hyped about UCF. UCF is my favorite college football team. KJ Jefferson, the transfer, the quarterback from Arkansas, 19 touchdowns, 8 interceptions at Arkansas last year. I was so excited when I found out he transferred here. He and Arkansas struggled last year, but now coming to UCF, he's going to be one of the best quarterbacks in the nation. He always has been one of the best quarterbacks in college football. RJ Harvey, 1,400 yards and 16 touchdowns last year. One of the best running backs in college football. And now they've been in the Big 12. This is their second year. So they're going to have a big impact on college football if they do good. Miles Montgomery, a transfer from Cincinnati, also at the running back position. 400 yards last year. 3 touchdowns. He's going to be a big part coming from Cincinnati. Kobe Hudson, 900 yards last year. He is a big part. Xavier Townsend, 325 yards, 3 touchdowns. He did kind of cool down for most of last year, but at the beginning he was insane. You gotta have Malachi Lawrence, 7.5 sacks, and Lee Hunter, 3 sacks and 41 tackles in 2023. Next, we got New Hampshire. Seth Morgan looks to be their starting QB right now. He was not very good. 4 touchdowns and 9 interceptions. More interceptions than touchdowns. I think maybe UCF's corners and safeties can pick this guy off pretty easily. They also have Miles Thomason at running back, 216 yards and 1 TD. Another big guy for New Hampshire. So he's probably going to impact the game pretty big for just New Hampshire at least. Score prediction. I'm going to make a big one here. 56-3. UCF wins. Maybe even 63-3. I mean, at least a 60-point victory. We'll say 63-3 right now. I'm not really going to predict any other games. I'm not going to go back and say, oh, I predict that Georgia's going to beat Clemson, blah, blah, blah. I'm just going to say UCF. They're my favorite college football team. You always got to include UCF. But I thank you guys for watching this video. I'm getting back into it. I mean, I haven't posted other than last week's video in 6 months. But it's really fun being back. And I thank y'all, everyone, for the support on last video. That was a big return. I mean, I get it's only 150 views, but that's a big amount of people watching my videos on a 6-month-long break where I didn't even post any content. No updates, no nothing, no NFL, no college football off-season transfers. So I thank you very much for the support. I really appreciate it. I'll be back next week with week 2. Really excited. And hey, Michigan versus Texas in week 2. Hook 'em horns. See y'all in the next one. Bye.